Welcome to Learning Unit number 4. In her New York Times piece, How to Build Resilient Kids Even After a Loss, Sheryl Sandberg shares the encouraging news that resilience, which we already know leads to better health, greater happiness, and more success, is not a fixed personality trait. We are not born with a set amount of it. Resilience is a muscle we can build. And stories, both sharing our own perception of experiences and especially listening to those of others, are at the heart of working this muscle. So in this learning unit, we're going to learn more about the important roles of mentoring, modeling, and storytelling to build resilience. So we're also going to make sure that you understand and design a plan to complete our resilience practice assignment. And this is going to be by focusing on selecting an interview partner and beginning to look at interview questions. So we're going to go over the resilience practice assignment in this video. So as always, you're going to be doing your 3 Good Things journal and your heart rate variability biofeedback practice. There's a short read by Rose Sherman, the emerging RN leader, Learning to Listen. This is from a book that I had about resilience, and I think it was just a really good read, especially in regards to mentors. And I like how he helps us to understand it by using an analogy. So that's just, you're not clicking on anything, you're just reading. That comes from the Eric Rayton's book. The first video now takes us a little bit more into StoryCorps. And this is Dave Isay, and he is the founder of StoryCorps. And we're going to be using StoryCorps to interview interview a resilient nurse. Then there's a brief read. Again, as you know, my favorite author, Dr. Rachel Naomi Raymond, and this came from her book, My Grandfather's Blessings. And there's 3 pages. It's a chapter, but it's very short. And as you read this, think about how the concept of service relates to resiliency in nursing. And you're going to be answering this question in the discussion board. So as you read, I want you to think about the concept of service relating to resilience in nursing. Then just a short video about best practices for conducting an interview, because you're going to be the interview. You will be doing an interview. And discussion board 4 is going to have 3 questions. First of all, as we've already spoken about, the concept of service as it relates to resiliency in nursing. Then you're going to actually begin working on your resilience praxis assignment, which is due in week 6. This is week 4, but I wanted to introduce it. I wanted to get you going on it and give you some time to work on that. So therefore, who's going to be, by the end of learning unit number 4, this one, you're going to have identified an interview partner and begun to think about some questions that you may ask your interview partner. And then we're looking at StoryCorps, and there's going to be a number of information, like as far as this is the actual app. So what I think is the best way to go about preparing for your interview, and what I'd like you to accomplish this week, is to look at these sources of information about StoryCorps, because you're not going to be using your own taping device. You're going to be using StoryCorps as the app. So the best way to start is to download this file. It's a one-pager, and it tells you how to get started with the StoryCorps app. And then there's a video about how to use the StoryCorps app. Again, very brief. So I want you to make sure that you're looking at both of these sources. And if you are doing an interview, which most students seem to do face to face, I like that. I like you, if possible, try to choose a nurse who you think is resilient, who is nearby. So you could get close and sit and talk with her or him about, you can interview them face to face, and you're going to record that on the StoryCorps app. Now, that said, if you decide that you have a wonderful person to interview, but they're a distance and you can't be together, then instead of using the StoryCorps app, you will use StoryCorps Connect. And this is another app, but it is for a distance. So, but otherwise, more likely you'll be using the StoryCorps app, and this is the website that you can go on and learn a lot more about this app. But again, to start, think about whether you're going to be interviewing somebody close by that you can sit and interview in the same room, or whether you're going to do it from a distance, and then you're going to select either StoryCorps Connect or StoryCorps app. If it's StoryCorps app, you're going to download that. If it's StoryCorps Connect, you will download that app. So let's take a look, and probably what we should have done is started this. It's on page 13 of your syllabus, but this is the one major assignment that we have. Now, I know every week you're doing a discussion board post, a reply, you are doing lots of learning activities, and then each week you do your 3 good things, and you do your heart rate variability biofeedback. So really, this resilience praxis assignment is the only additional assignment that you have for this course besides the discussion board, 3 good things, and heart rate variability biofeedback, because that's a lot. I understand that. So the resilience praxis is due Unit 6, and it really demonstrates your ability to translate the field of study on resilience and well-being into action. So using the StoryCorps app or StoryCorps Connect, you're going to prepare for, record, and then share your StoryCorps interview file directly with myself and your fellow classmates. So first of all, you're reading all the sources on StoryCorps, you're downloading the app, you're reviewing the resources on storytelling that are included on the website and on the app. You're selecting an interview partner who you perceive to be resilient, someone who has a joyful nursing practice, who has found ways to move through hardship to become stronger, wiser, more courageous, and or more compassionate. You're going to ask permission to interview and share that interview only with your classmates and professor. But you will be sharing your interview with us. So make sure you ask for permission. You don't have to get a written permission. Then you're going to, starting this learning unit, develop your own interview questions. You can use questions recommended by StoryCorps. You can use questions you find anywhere. But you're starting by developing at least 2 questions this week. During the interview, make sure it's quiet. I've had a couple interviews that there's a lot of background noise. So if possible, keep that background noise down to a minimum. Schedule an agreed upon time, place. You're going to follow your app's prompts and record a 15-minute is typically what is best. maybe 20-minute, up to 45-minute maximum interview. Don't forget, take a selfie of you and your interview partner following the interview, and then you're going to complete the StoryCorps has a completion process, both the summary and keywords. And you're going to look at StoryCorps to better understand how to share that file. You want to make sure that the link is viewable by the person that you send it to, which would be myself. So you want to make sure that it is viewable. And then again, here was the information that we had shared already in Learning Unit 4, and you're going to upload it to the Dropbox in Learning Unit number 6. So Learning Unit number 6 is going to be at the end of April. So I hope you have time to really think about this week who you're going to interview and begin to think about interviewing, listening, asking really good questions. And have a great week.